How goes it? How goes it? How goes it? Make sure everything is looking like it's supposed to look. It is looking how it's supposed to look. Let me get everything started up. And we'll go live here as we do every single week. To answer your questions. Well, I like that. I like that. I like that. I got it all together pretty quickly. Long day, but glad to be here. Glad to talk Carolina Panthers football with everybody. So let me get started with the introduction. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, working, working for Charlotte Vibe, governing the Carolina Panthers. And yesterday, the Carolina Panthers had a very disappointing loss to the New York Jets. Lost that game in overtime. Made us go from a 3-0 team to now a 3-3 team. And maybe the antidote for all this losing streak is playing against the New York Giants. Good old former GM Dave Gettleman. You got who else his name? You got James Bradbury up there, and then you got Graham Gano up there. You got a few guys from the Carolina Panthers that are now playing for the New York Giants. So yours truly will not be making the trip, but I will be covering the team. So all the pregame stuff, all the normal coverage that you're used to seeing and have come to. I think my wife adjusted my chair. Let me raise it up a little bit. That's better. We'll continue to be happening this week as we get ready to take on the New York Giants. Now I think I'm too high, but better than being too low. So, without further ado, you guys know that these weekly Ask Me Your Carolina Panther questions are 100% for you guys. So, I will talk if there are no questions coming, but otherwise, this whole time that we're having this show till approximately 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is for the purpose of answering any and every question that you have. I work for you. I'm here for you. So that's it. Let me go ahead and start to bring these questions up because they are flowing, and that's why I'm here. So let's go ahead with the very first question. Send it on over. Let's see, Red Rover, did it work? First question of the day is, what did I think of Matt Rhule's press conference today? So, man, it was long, number one, Brad. It was a long press conference. But I appreciate a coach that's willing to give you 30 minutes. Excuse me. I also quickly ate dinner so I could make it up here. A coach that'll give you 30 minutes of his Monday after a very disappointing loss and seemed to do it without any irritation about his weekly duties of talking to the media after the game. A lot of what he said I appreciated. I feel like I see a coach that knows that change needs to come for this team in order to get some success. You know, they obviously came out the gate good, 3-0, and now they obviously, everybody has Carolina Panthers numbers. Everybody has figured them out, and they're making things difficult for the Carolina Panthers. And you know, they have to change. They must change. If they don't change it, then it's like we're accepting people figuring us out. So for me, Matt Rhule's press conference today was about revealing that he, number one, he's going to take full responsibility for this team as a $10 million a year coach should. Is that his? I forget exactly. I forget exactly. Let me look it up real quick. I know Matt Rhule is paid a whole lot of money. Let's see. 7 years, 6. So he's almost a $10 million a year coach. So as he should take on the responsibility saying, hey, if it's special teams, it's ultimately my fault. If it's play calling by Joe Brady, I'm the coach. I give him instructions on what to do. If he's not executing it, then it's ultimately my fault. So I like hearing that from him. Brad, if you got anything particular about what Coach talked about today that you want me to comment on, just let me know. But as a general, that's my take on Coach's press conference today. Stefan Gilmore, does he have a number? He should definitely have a number at this point. Let me see if I can retrieve that for you. Wow, I do not see that he has a number. That's interesting. Why doesn't he have a number? Well, I guess for the most part, he's been on the physically unable to perform list, so he does not have to have a number. But yeah, sorry, good question there. I didn't realize that he didn't have a number. Let me put that on my little list of things to figure out and report back on. Let's see. Give me just a second. I might actually try to see if I can figure that out while we're broadcasting here. All right, all right. Let me go ahead and go to the next question here. Boom, 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 boom. My man Kent Sullivan. Actually, I'm going to see if I can't find out this information for you right now. Give me just a second. All right, hey Chris, do you think college coaching are limited to college level playing? So we'll say this, I don't watch much college football. Just in case, I don't know, just let you guys know that I don't watch much college football. But I will say this, traditionally college coaches have not been successful at the professional level. And it seems kind of weird because you see pro coaches kind of come from the whole gambit of guys that have been in the league for 10 years in various positions that's not a head coach. You've seen guys go from not even having any real coaching experience to then being in the pros and being okay. So I don't know if it's like some of the college ways just gets ingrained in these head coaches, and then because that's where they, I don't know, and they struggle at the professional level. So I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't personally tracked a lot of guys. I know name's gonna skip my mind, but I think Chip Kelly for the Eagles was one of the more recent big name coaches to do it. I know Urban Meyer's doing it now down in Jacksonville. So I think they have the work cut out for them. And I don't even know if it's because of players respecting them as much and how it's completely different. And like when you're a college coach, how you're really helping manage a young man's life. You're really, being a father figure of sorts at times and helping them figure out so many things. But when you're in a college, you're letting men be men. And you still can have a father figure role, but it's an utterly different one than you would as a college coach. So good question, Kent. Hopefully there was some information there to let you know my thoughts on college coaches. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson was a college coach. So, I mean, it happens, but it does not. The college coach making the transition over to the pros does not happen at all as often as you think. You have the minor leagues in baseball, then the majors. You have the G League in basketball, where you feel like there's these systems should be set up where just like the player goes from Pee Wee League to middle school to high school, college pro, that could be the same path that a lot of coaches follow, is that stepping stone. But they really don't. They really don't follow that path successfully too often at all. So appreciate the question. All right, Locksman, I'm going to have to trust you on this information. So I'm just going to read what Locks has said. Jimmy Johnson went 1-15 in his first year, 7-9 his second year, Super Bowl his third and fourth year. So with that being said, I will talk about my feelings about Coach Rule as a professional head coach. And so far, I like the guy. I don't feel like he's not going to make it. I feel very optimistic about his success. when the team loses 3 games in a row, you definitely want to see a different attitude. You definitely want to see a different demeanor. And that came out today. He said that he's responsible. He said things are going to change. He said specifically, Sunday, yesterday, after the game, he talked about we got to find our identity. And to me, that indicated right then that he's like, hey, this got to change. Whatever we're doing was working, but it's not working. So he started saying this yesterday that there has to be a new identity and they have to find themselves because this ain't it. And then today he talked a little bit more about it and saying that we're not running the ball enough. Sam Darnold doesn't need to be throwing the ball 40 times if he's not really being given the best opportunity to succeed at doing so. And he's going to make sure that we're not doing that as much going forward as we were in the past. He said some similar things on defense. On defense, though the defense has been the bright spot of this team, defensively, hey, they had 14 sacks through the first 3 games. And then the last 2 games, they've only managed to have, I believe, 2 sacks. I'm not 100% on that one. But he said defensively they got to change because they were able to do blitzes before, get pressures on the quarterback, and now those same blitzes are not working because they're getting quarterbacks that are a little bit more experienced. Coaches know what's going on with the Carolina Panthers. Hey, these guys are getting to you quick, so we need to speed up what we're doing. And they're successfully getting the ball out of their hand quicker and not giving our blitzers a chance to get there. So realizing that we're going to have to change things up and we're going to have to get there with our front four without so much relying on a blitz to help us get to the quarterback and put pressure on the quarterback where we can make some defensive stops. And you got to say, hey, yeah, something's necessary because though you could look at the number of snaps that the defense played yesterday as an excuse for or an alibi for them not having for being tired, but they let up over 570 yards. And that's just bad. It's just bad as a team. Bad as a team for something like that to have happened. So let's see here. Going to continue on with the comments here. Matt Rule said today that they were using some college plays on Sunday. Yeah, they do, and that's no surprise that he's going to sprinkle some of that in there. One thing you got to realize with the NFL these days is the NFL has indeed borrowed a lot from the college game, and they'll sprinkle it in there here and there, the RPOs and things like that. So, yeah, that's nothing new that that they'll sprinkle a little bit of college magic in there. Kent Sullivan says they cannot progress. Let me see if I can get some water up here. Give me just a second. But Ken, I'm going to address this here momentarily. They can't progress. No, right now they can't. And so right now you're at a critical point. Yesterday in our post-game show that I know a lot of people don't watch when we lose, but I said I don't feel like Coach Rule is in a hot seat this year. I feel like certainly Tepper has an eye out on him and he's evaluating him, but I feel like next year is going to be the hot seat if we're, depending on how the rest of this year plays out. And he said a lot today of change coming. So Kent, you, I, Panther Nation, we'll see after this weekend what kind of coach we have. I know I said we lose to Philly, we lose to Dallas, we're in trouble. I said that. I always want to remind you, I do not wish bad on this team. It is so much more fun when this team is winning to cover the team, to talk to you guys, to go down into the locker room. It is tremendously different covering this team and doing this job when they're losing. So, but that's what I saw coming, and that's what we're having. And now I say I need to see some change from the coach in order to say that he's going to be with us for some years to come and is a good coach for our future. What do we got next? Damian Scott, man, I'm gonna let this sit up here for a split second, and I'm gonna hope that I can get a few comments from everybody watching. So for everybody watching, go ahead and chime in quickly on this if you can. I know there's probably about a 20-second delay from when I'm talking and when you guys start leaving your comments, but I will read this. It says, should Carolina pursue Cam Newton again? That is from Damian Scott. Should Carolina pursue Cam Newton again? Isn't she beautiful? Oh, y'all should see the leggings my wife got on. I was hoping that'd make her come back in here. They do look nice. But let me see if there's some comments that we're able to come in here. Okay, here's the one. Heck no, leave Cam Newton where he at. All right, so I'll let you guys continue to chime in about this Cam Newton question. Cam recently said that he's been vaccinated. Do I feel like that was anything affecting him coming on to a team? It could have been, but it's technically is illegal for it to be within the NFL rules. No, I feel like it's, Cam talked about the right opportunity hasn't come by, and him coming to Carolina, what's in that opportunity for Cam? A place to come home? That's not too important as much as it is he wants an opportunity to play, and I would think he'd be fine even if he's not going to play, but feeling like, himself thinking, well, I'm not the starter, I'm the backup, but this guy might struggle, and I can get in here and get some work. I don't feel like Carolina's the place. Sam is certainly struggling, but behind Sam is P.J. Walker, is a younger guy that you want to develop and feel like has some talent to be a backup for your team. You bring Cam Newton in here, and you're gonna put Cam in front of PJ. No, there's no need to do that. So, in short, no, we should not pursue Cam, and I don't even feel like it's a fit for Cam with what they're wanting their quarterback to be able to do and where we want to take this team with new regime. So, appreciate the question, though, Damien. Appreciate the question. Locks, man, why do you feel like the Panthers fans are drama queens? Do you guys feel like Panther fans are drama queens? And as I let this soak in, which I need to, did I mess up my cameras? All right, so here's a news flash. Want to remind you all that I'm 100% supported by you all watching. I have no sponsors. I only have your kind donations. So those are always welcome. Super chats are an easy way to do that. But even more importantly right now than the donations, which I'm telling you, they are very much needed and handy. It is not the cheapest thing doing what I'm doing, but I do it with a lot of passion. I'm hoping for some success. Is pressing like anytime you see one of my videos. And I'm going to be honest, even if you don't watch the whole thing, even if you only watch it for like 5 seconds, hit that like button, because I'm going to tell you, it's a process to go through to get player interviews and do the fun stuff that I love and that you guys like to see. And the bigger my audience is that are watching and tuning in, then the easier it is for me to get a Christian McCaffrey. Now, that's never going to be easy, but it becomes a lot easier when I have a large audience, okay? So please, if you feel like the content's decent, hit the like button. Subscribe, and if you like asking questions, and I do these shows every single week, may do more of them, hit the notification. I go live a lot just for the sole purpose of interacting with you all right? So, quick plug there. Let's continue to move on through. All right, Tommy, what's up, Tommy? Appreciate you tuning in. Do I feel coaching wasn't up to par this game? Yeah, coaching has not been up to par all season, to be honest with you. And I'm going to say that from the standpoint of we cannot come out of the half and have such an extreme deficit from what we have in the first half. Coaches need to light a fire under these guys to do that. We had, I think it may have changed now, but before the game on Sunday, it was a 44 point differential in our score versus our opponent's score in the first half. 44 points, approximately 5 games, so that's almost 10 points. So let's just make it extremely simple. We're winning 10-0 of every game, 10-0. Second half, it doesn't work out that way. It gets flip-flopped, or I forget the word that Lauren uses. It gets flip-flopped, and we had big enough leads in the first 3 games where we were able to hold on, not enough in the other games. So that's coaching. You obviously have the talent and the personnel to do it because you're putting up those points in the first half. You don't have the coaching to get you there in the second half. And I wonder why these guys, these coaches, just don't even do something drastic, right? You have some trick plays. You have some really creative, really creative plays. And I don't care what level of football you've played. We all know that there are plays that players get excited about, whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to be something like a trick play. It's just something different. Run the play. Get it done and get these guys where they have some energy. They're excited they did their play. They're excited that the play was successful, but just try something different. I don't feel like this coaching staff is doing a good enough job on trying something different. So, no, I don't feel like the coaching was up to par last game, but I really don't feel like it's been up to par the entire season because of having that problem, and it's now just really killing us that we're not able to do a better job with certain things. Even Coach Rule talking about the fact that they're passing the ball too much, even though they're not being successful. Yeah, some of that starts to get necessary due to the score of the game and the time remaining, but coaching needs to improve. So Locke's Main said that his live is pausing for some reason. I don't know, man. All my vitals say good, excellent connection, excellent data. Hopefully it doesn't keep doing that. I know, Locke, you're one of my guys that come on quite often, so I hope that gets cleared up for us so that you can enjoy the rest of the show. All right, Sizzle God in here with a question. Hold on, let me invite my people on Twitter to join me here. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. I'm going to be coming back. Just trying to share the love of what's going on so I can have some people join us here. Like the way you hit that when you're done. All right, let me get back to the show. What has Joe Brady accomplished at the NFL level to warrant all the praise across the league prior to this week's game? So Joe Brady has things that really aren't a reflection of this season happening for him that has a lot of buzz about his name. Number one, he was the brilliant guy behind LSU's crazy, successful, dominant college season. Last year, you could say that he did fine coaching the Carolina Panthers, but he's also a young coach. And so just like in any other sport, young talent is attractive to people. Young potential is attractive because now you get to say, hey, we can have somebody that's good for decades to come. I mean, think about it. You're running sports, you need a coach. What if you know that you got a coach when he was young and then he's about to be good for not 1 year, 2 years, but like 10 years, 15. Sean McVay. You know, people started getting excited about young, talented coaches when they see the success of Sean McVay. So it's not so much the performance of Brady this year. It's what credentials come before him and people feeling like he has some potential. Now, with this 3-game losing streak, you could see something simmer down a little bit at the pro level, but I think you certainly will not see it simmer down on the college level because there are some vacancies now that are opening up at the college levels, then they may want to talk to good old Joe Brady. So there you go. Brad Hope coming in with another question. Hey, and I don't mind if you guys can get in 10 questions because nobody else is asking. Please feel free to do so. What do you think that Matt Rule is not holding players or coaches accountable for the law? Why do you think he is not holding? So I do think 100% that he's holding players accountable, but he's not going to do that to the media in terms of like saying the guy is wrong or bashing the guy. He's going to say that guy's not doing enough and things need to change. But behind closed doors, yeah, I feel 1,000% that he's holding people accountable and he's telling them that they need to do something different. Keeping on moving. Good question. Good question. When do I think Shaq Thompson is going to be coming back? So I don't think this week, because I would like to see him have a good week of practice before he's back on the field. He, I think, recently came out of the boot. I'm sorry, he had a scooter, but I feel there's less of a change. I feel like we're maybe at 30-70 with Shaq. And most importantly, what I know you're going to hear Coach Rule say is that it's not about like, let's say Shaq is feeling better and they want to try things out. So potentially he could be back out there Wednesday in limited form practicing with the team. So that's fine that he goes out there, he has a decent practice, but that's not where the true test stands. The true test stands in how does he feel the next day. Coach Rule says it all the time, like, how does the guy feel the next day after he first comes back? So I don't feel like we're going to get the true answer until later, but I feel not too optimistic that Shaq Thompson will be returning for the matchup versus the Giants. And here's just a little comment from Lots, Maine. Richard Fearing, do you think Matt Rule should have hired at least a seasoned NFL veteran coach on his staff? Well, I really, really like that question quite a bit. So here's my answer. If I didn't know the full story behind his coaching staff, I probably would say yes. But Coach Rule and Joe Brady, he wanted that guy as his offensive coordinator. His defensive coordinator is a guy that Coach Rule has basically never coached a game without him as his defensive coordinator. So given that makeup of how those coordinators were so tied to him, yeah, there's not an opportunity for him to have a very high-ranking coach that's seasoned in the NFL. So good question, but I think if you have a little bit of insight about his relationship with the guys that he has in place, and this one time during a press conference, he talked so extremely highly about, in particular, David Snow, and the fact that he's learned so much from him. He has a tremendous amount of respect. Think he's like the best ever. And again, that he's never coached a game without him as his defensive coordinator. That I don't think we would have had any kind of different results given the dynamics of the relationships there. So I'm going to skip over these. Just some comments about Cam not being a fit and Rule not calling guys out to the media. Yeah, he's not going to do that. He's not that kind of coach that's going to call out a guy to the media. And I would imagine if he ever does, that guy is probably not going to be with us long, or he's furious, because that just doesn't seem to be his style of coaching and communicating with the media. All right, here we go. Another comment here from Richard Fearing. Hopefully, I'm saying your name correctly. And also, do take a moment to say for people that are chatting, I mean, if you care to, I think it's pretty cool. You guys can see my face, obviously. Put in your little picture of yourself on your, well, I'm pointing here, working up on the screen. Right there, and your picture will show. I think that'd be pretty cool. They should scheme and move the pocket for Sam Darnold. Yeah, they could and they should, but it's also been a little bit deeper than that. Right now, starting last week, players were not catching the ball. Also, defensively, Sam, they're rotating a little bit heavy to DJ Moore, and so I think I feel like Sam's mobile enough to where we don't have to have now we're constantly rolling out with him, and I don't even know if we have a lineman's ability to support that, but I feel like that's not a complete answer to it, and there's other ways to help him out with some quick passes and some other creative things that they're doing that I like. And I just got to share this because I do not disagree with you at all. Young coaching may have some knowledge of the game, but NFL coaches hold some wisdom. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like learning from the guys who's been there before. Lots asked about the exact injury type of Shaq Thompson. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Other than knowing it's his foot, I'm not sure the exact. Because I'm not a medical person. When they start having medical talks, I just know the guy can't play. Let's see. Yeah, I can't get a comment. I'm sorry, a confirmation on the exact type of injury there. Man, Rich, you doing good with all the questions. You're making sure I'm up to my job. So Friday at practice, Deontay had a non-contact type of injury regarding his knee. And it happened early on in practice. He took a nice little cart ride off and did not return to practice. And then the next day, Saturday, he was placed on IR. So that is what happened with Deontay. So he's going to be out at least 2 more games now dealing with that injury. Jacob with the question of the day. Do you think Stefan Gilmore will play this week? I'm thinking. Lots of thoughts going through my head. I'm going to go 40-60. I can update you as the week goes. But here's the biggest thing for Gilmore. He hasn't played since December of last year. He didn't play with the New England Patriots. He's not able to play with us. Now, yes, it was saying that he was possibly about to come off before New England traded him. But the fact is he has not played football. He needs to get in football shape. Now, the plus, and I'm thinking through this as I talk with you guys, the plus for Gilmore is that he has been able to be in the meeting rooms and start to learn this defense, start to learn the words that we use and what they mean for our team. So the plus is that his knowledge, is that his knowledge could be there to get him some playing time, and it's just a matter of how he responds physically. And by far, if he does get to play, it will be very, 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 very limited. So, and we got some other guys coming back too, so we'll see. Do you think it's realistic J.C. Horn comes back this season? Haven't heard any updates on J.C. We need him back. So, and As it stands now, JC does not need to come back this season. If we were winning, and you know that he can get stronger and help us with possible playoff games and that type of thing, then yeah, go ahead and bring him back. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat so much. I thought this water would help, but it's not helping too much. He's a rookie. Let him heal. Let him continue to learn. Let him watch. Let him cheer on his team. But with us right now not seeming to have the best record, I don't think that he needs to come back in any kind of rush way. He is a very high draft pick, and we should go ahead and protect that draft pick. You know, just let him get strong. Let him get strong. And yeah, there's not going to be any updates because he's so early on in that process with that injury healing that coaches aren't going to give us many updates on him at all right now. Choppy71 says the O-line is killing Sam Darnold. Heck yeah, they are. He said, when you getting up with the train stop? I think I know what you mean, Locks, but tell me exactly what you're talking about there, and I will address that question. What are your thoughts on Chuba and his gaining confidence as he has gotten more snaps? Of course, he does need to be more consistent. Let me see if I can get the whole, more consistent catching the ball, but hopefully that will come as he grows. So yeah, I would say you hit it right on, you hit it perfectly. He's definitely a good running back. He's definitely a solid running back. Anytime you have a guy that is the first rookie since, guess who, Jonathan Stewart, to have 100 yards rushing, yes, that means our boy, our superstar Christian McCaffrey, he never had a 100-yard rushing game. And Chuba has done so. So he definitely has some skill. He definitely has some potential. He's definitely a solid running back. And with this offense, he needs to be able to catch the ball out the backfield better than he is right now. I don't think it's detrimental because, I don't feel like they knew that he was going to have to play this much, and now his hands are going to be, his lack of hands are going to be a little bit more evident because of all the plays that he's getting in there. We'll have opportunities for Sam to have to check down and say, oh, let me hit Chuba. But yeah, very good running back, and absolutely you hit it perfectly. He needs to get better at catching the ball out the backfield. My man Richard loading me up with the questions. I appreciate it. If they re-sign Dante, are you asking me, Richard, are they going to sign Dante? Okay, I got it. If they re-sign, let me skip over here and, did not mean to show that. Here we go, let's get it right. If they re-sign Dante, what are your thoughts on the potential of Dante, JC, and CJ? What about Gilmore? So I haven't done a deep dive into the salary cap and what kind of issues that we're going to have there. I think we're going to have some challenges with all of this stuff with Dante, CJ Henderson, Stefan Gilmore, JC Horn. Obviously, he's a rookie. His contract is set, but Dante's up for a new contract. Gilmore will have a new contract. And I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly what CJ's contract situation looks like. And we have some holes to address. You guys want us to address the offensive line. So if they're all able to re-sign, hey, I'm with Coach Rule, the more talent we have, the merrier. I just don't know how that salary cap looks, but my intuition is it ain't big enough for all of them. So we'll see. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Let me go back here. Train stop. Pat Coltrane. Yeah. Shout outs to Pat Coltrane. I'm not sure if he's tuning in or not. He's an excellent YouTuber that talks about the Carolina Panthers. I know he said that he's going to be stopping his Carolina Panthers coverage this season. I haven't talked with him personally to confirm that, but you know what? Very good idea. I think I will give him the open invitation to come on at any time and join me and talk. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now while we're talking because I may forget. And we have about 15 more minutes left, so keep the questions coming. Hope you guys are appreciating it. If you hadn't hit the like button, you know what I'm going to say, please do it. It will help me get much more action going on, many more players on the show. All right, just sending out a little tweet there to my man, Pat Coltrane. And then let me get back on to you guys. Keep on going through all these. All right. Shelly Long, how you doing, Shelly? Shelly. All right, so Shelly asked, is this another season for bust for high draft picks? So, Shelly, the one thing I don't know, and we'll leave this open, is if you're talking about the league as a whole. If you are talking about the league as a whole, I'm not educated enough to answer that question. But I will talk about the Carolina Panthers. I think absolutely not. No way, no way. J.C. Horn was a guy that we had a lot of hope for, a lot of hype about, and a lot of happiness about. All like those three H's: hope, hype, and happiness. And he got that injury down in Houston, and so that's not, I would say, a fault of his or indication of his ability. It just happened. It was certainly a weird injury because it was a no contact type of injury that he suffered. But I think J.C. Horn is fine. Marshall, our second draft pick out of LSU. He got a concussion this weekend. Prior to that concussion, he's been our very solid number 3 wide receiver, young guy, lots to learn in the NFL, progressing. So I feel like he's been fine. And Brady Christensen, our offensive tackle, they just haven't given him an opportunity yet. I don't know if they brought him in with the needs, with the goal that he'd have to immediately come in and have an impact. Now, certainly, the way this offensive line is playing, you as fans and me as a media person want to see some more efforts done for that offensive line. But no, in my eyes, absolutely not a bust with this last year's draft picks. All right, Richard here's doing his thing. What are my thoughts on Keith Taylor Jr.? I think he has potentially played pretty well yesterday. So prior to yesterday, I didn't know much about Keith Taylor. I knew that he was on our team and of him, but I didn't know that much. And absolutely, positively, 1,000%, he had a great game yesterday. So crazy busy day today. We had a lot of time to meet with players and coaches, and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the game from yesterday to have more evaluation. So I will do so, and I invite you, Richard, to ask me that question again the next time that I'm on live. All right, please do so. Let's see. Do you think the Panthers might trade Christian McCaffrey because he's been hurt for 3 seasons for the most of them? That comes from Jacob. All right, Jacob. So I talked about this yesterday, getting plugged. But I know you guys, like, you've been honest. You say after a loss, Chris, we're just not tuning into the post-game show that much. That's fine. But I also talked about it in the pregame show. So quick plug, every Sunday, 11:30 a.m., please tune in for our pregame show. We'll go over lots of good information and facts to get you ready for the day's matchup, make you feel intelligent and important around you. Feel like, oh, he knew this, he knew that. I'm going to hook you up with that information, me and Lauren will. And then we also have the post-game show and then my weekly live show that I do at 7 o'clock on Mondays. So I think that the Christian McCaffrey trade deserves to be talked about by management. I think they should have had meetings to say, hey, this isn't at the top of the list. This isn't what we're going to do now, but hey, does everybody here think that we might have to make a decision in the future? You know what I mean, kind of thing. It's like, okay, we're not going to go into it, but yeah, we're going to think about this could be something that we go to do. And will we get them to admit that? No. Will I ask? I don't think I even want to ask that. I may. I don't know. It just depends. But I think that we can't tell yet. Later on in the season, we will be able to tell. But I hope that the management of this team has thought about it. Not necessarily wrote it down on paper, but at least thought about what that may look like and what they may do. So, because you always want to be a step ahead. In football, you always want to be a step ahead of your opponent. You always want to be a step ahead of your injuries. That's why you have depth. So if they're not, it would just blow my mind if they were not. All right, let me see. We talked them up. Pat Coltrane has signed in and he said, "What's up?" Hey Pat, I don't know if you're still on. If you are, appreciate you tuning in. We haven't caught up in a minute. I have heard some news about you, man, and seen some interviews that you have done. Legendary guy that talks about the Carolina Panthers, extremely knowledgeable. And Pat, you always have the offer to this season, next season, whenever you want to join me. Let me know anytime that you want to join me for a live show, and I would absolutely love to have you on and bring that dynamic to the show. That's about going to wrap us up. One thing that you all have not talked about, Brad Holt. Hey, Brad, let me put your comment up on the screen because I feel your pain. He said, right now it feels like we are 3 steps behind. Is that because we have lost 3 games in a row? 3 steps, 3 games? And let me also snap this up there. Richard said, hopefully we can bounce back against the Giants, especially if they might be without Daniel and Saquon. Got to get back in a W column. And then my man Pat says, still here, we got to do some stuff. Absolutely. We always, we love the people, Pat, so we got to give the people what they want if that's what they want. But you guys didn't ask about Robbie Anderson. So I'm closing talking about Robbie Anderson. He had a miserable day yesterday dropping passes. And in my opinion, the most miserable one where you say, it's gotten in here, and this is me saying it, this ain't Robbie saying it, this is my opinion, that it got in here, was he dropped the ball in which you feel like you should only see that like in high school. Maybe some colleges, but you should never see this kind of drop in the pros from a wide receiver. Maybe from a cornerback in the pros, but not from a wide receiver. That ball came and hit Robbie Anderson, boom, in the chest, bounced off and went away. That is here. Because as many times as this guy's had to catch a ball, hand-eye, it's all here. Heck, you can even go to here. But you should never, at the pro level, you're getting paid zillions of dollars, okay, millions of dollars. The ball comes, misses all this, and goes off your chest. So he said he has to get better. He says that he's going to go back to the basics. He said he, wasn't happy with the way that he was playing, and they were furious with it. Even during the game, he was looking at the iPad, trying to look at things and see what he could correct and get fixed to get things together. Robbie had headlines the previous week for being animated on the sidelines. He said he feel like the team has responded, and they are trying to get him in positions to get more receptions. And they did target him 11 times yesterday. I think that was one less than they targeted DJ, but he only caught the ball 3 times, and he only had 11 yards. And yes, he had the touchdown reception, which helped, but it seemed just way too late. So Coach Rule said, hey, for Robbie Anderson, he got to be locked into practice. He got to be locked into the meeting rooms, and he just needs to have an absolute solid, great week of practice, which will hopefully turn into some success for this Sunday versus the Giants. So there's your updates. I should have a confirmation from what player I'm going to be talking to this week. Looks like that's about to start back up. I can't count my chickens before they hatch, but as soon as I do, I'm going to let you all know, and then I want you all to submit questions to me because I always like to involve the fans, my supporters, and my questions that I have for players when I get that opportunity to do so. So there's the nugget or the gem for those that are still watching this broadcast at this point. I'm going to have a player, probably, should be confirmed shortly. And as soon as I get the confirmation, I'm going to let you guys know, and I want you to send me a question. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for everybody that has hit the like button. Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe, covering the Carolina Panthers. Shaq, you got me, but I'm on the way out. Talk to you guys later.